ability. We therefore engage in an exhaustive fact-finding mission, deploying marine experts, legal historians, and investigative journalists to the mouth of waters boundary and the Gulf of Guinea. The context of our dialogue today. The findings we are about to discuss today are grounded in empirical evidence and historical archives. Our objective is to provide a neutral, credible platform where 46 civil society organizations can analyze these facts. We are here to ask, what does the law say? What does the geography prove? And most importantly, how do we ensure that the citizens of both Cross River State and Akwa Ibom State, respectively, benefit from a resolution that is fair, transparent, and final? This roundtable is about ensuring that leadership is credible and that citizens are aware of the realities of their heritage. We are here to provide the federal government of Nigeria and relevant stakeholders with a grassroots, validated perspective that prioritizes national unity over regional discord. I urge us all to deliberate with a sense of high responsibility. Let the facts lead our discourse. Thank you and welcome. The boundaries bordering, Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, and the Cameroon. I was there. Professor Sam Amadi was also there. Benga Raruba was also there. Ruben Abati was also there. So many persons and some dignified heads of civil society organizations here present. And then we have come up with this communique following our findings and resolutions. Now, this is a communique of the civil society organizations following a successful verification mission to the Nigerian offshore marine boundary between Nigeria, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea, including OML 114, OML 115, and OML 123. Date of communique is today, 12th March 2026. Date of verification, we were there live on the 28th of February 2026. Introduction. Now, a coalition of civil society organizations, maritime experts, technical mapping professionals, and public policy advocates conducted a verification and fact-finding mission to the Nigerian offshore maritime boundary areas involving Nigeria, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea, including the offshore hydrocarbon block, OML 114, OML 115, and OML 123. The verification exercise to the sea was conducted on the 28th February 2026, during which the delegation undertook physical observation on the marine corridors, technical mapping, verification, examination of relevant international legal instruments, and consultations with maritime governance stakeholders. The objective of this mission was to independently verify the status of Nigeria's maritime boundary, offshore hydrocarbon entitlements, and the implication of administrative and regulatory decisions affecting the Cross River Marine Corridor. At the conclusion of the mission, the coalition of civil society organizations in Nigeria unanimously resolved and confirmed the following findings. Key findings. 1. The 2002 judgment of the International Court of Justice, ICJ, between Nigeria and Cameroon only ceded the southern Bakassi Peninsula settlement of Atabong, Akwabana, and Achibong town, extending from the Akwa Yefa River estuary up to Rio del Rey to the Republic of Cameroon, as reflected on the official ICJ judgment map and confirmed through physical verification during the mission. 2. The Cross River estuary and the west or western Bakassi Peninsula islands of Day Spring 1 and 2, Abana and Kwa Islands were not ceded under the ICJ judgment. I take that again. The Cross River estuary and the western Bakassi Peninsula islands of Day Spring 1 and 2, Abana and Kwa Islands were not ceded under the ICJ judgment. Nigeria therefore continues to maintain maritime boundary continuity between Cross River estuary and the Akwa River estuary, consistent with the ICJ cartographic evidence and the physical geography of the region. 3. The Cross River estuary was not extinguished nor nullified by the ICJ judgment. The estuary remains Nigeria's natural mouth of sea and gateway to Nigeria's international or Nigeria internal waters. I take that again. The Cross River estuary was not extinguished nor nullified by the ICJ judgment. The estuary remains Nigeria's natural mouth of the sea and a gateway to Nigeria internal waters, thereby providing Cross River State with direct littoral offshore access to the Atlantic Ocean. 4. The Green Tree Agreement of 2006, signed as part of the peaceful implementation of the ICJ ruling, did not cede any additional Nigerian territory to Cameroon beyond the ICJ judgment. Rather, the agreement serves primarily as a humanitarian, administrative, and governance framework regulating the orderly transition of authority and safeguarding the rights and welfare of affected communities. 5. The political solution negotiated in 2006 by former President Olusegun Obasanjo, following the handover of Bakassi and the signing of the Green Tree Agreement, which allocated 76 oil wells to Cross River State and 14 oil wells to Akwa Ibom State, remains a recognized administrative framework within Nigeria's oil derivation arrangements. 6. The decision of the National Boundary Commission (NBC) in 2008 to implement the offshore-onshore dichotomy abrogation act using a temporary implementation map, which, while drawing a baseline from Tom Short into the Cross River estuary and effectively closing the mouth of sea, thereby rendering Cross River non-littoral, raises serious constitutional, economic, and national security concerns. 7. The failure of the National Boundary Commission for over 24 years to demarcate the Nigerian Cameroon international maritime boundary following the ICJ judgment, while continuing to rely on a temporary oil dichotomy implementation map as though it were a marine or maritime boundary instrument, constitutes a major governance, sovereignty, and national security risk to Nigeria. 8. Continued reliance on the 2008 NBC temporary oil dichotomy implementation map has effectively resulted in the ceding of approximately 780 hectares of maritime body of waters within the Cross River estuary extending towards the mouth of the Akwa River estuary to Cameroon, as revealed by the technical mapping exercise and the Interagency Committee report of 2005. 9. The decision of the chairman of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RAMFAC, Dr. M.B. Shehu, to refer to Interagency Committee finding regarding the 780 hectares of maritime waters to the National Boundary Commission and the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, institutions that have yet to demarcate the boundary after more than 2 decades raises serious concerns in terms of accountability, and it is also a national security concern because Nigeria poses a lot of security challenges because of ungoverned maritime space. 10. The failure of the National Boundary Commission, NBC, the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission, RAMFAC, and the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to urgently brief the President and Commander-in-Chief, President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, of the Nigerians' the findings of the 2025 Interagency Committee report undermines Nigerians' capacity to recover our 780 hectares of maritime waters within Cross River estuary. 11. The failure to present these findings to the President also prevents Nigeria from exploring 49 identified transboundary and reservoirs continuity oil wells located within OML 114 in the Cross River estuary, and from negotiating continental shelf cooperation or reservoir unitization agreement with Cameroon, similar to the Nigeria Equatorial Guinea agreement negotiated in the year 2000 over the Ekanga and Zafiro fields, valued at over $23 billion within production estimated at approximately 150,000 barrels per day. 12. The alleged collaboration between the NBC, the RAMFAC, and the Office of the Surveyor General, resulting in the unilateral approval of over $33 billion from the federal account to Akwa Ibom State as sole beneficiary of the Ekanga and Zamfiro transboundary reservoir wells with Equatorial Guinea without clear presidential authorization raises serious financial, legal, and constitutional accountability concerns. Evidence suggests that Ekanga and Zafiro fields lie beyond the 200 meters isobat beyond the maritime access of Akwa Ibom State. 13. The failure of the NBC, Office of the Surveyor General, RAMFAC, to provide evidence to the President and Commander-in-Chief confirming that revenues from the joint developed Ekanga and Zafiro fields between Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea estimated as over $8 billion, have been remitted into the federal account requires immediate investigation. 14. The failure of the interagency committee comprising the NBC, Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation, and the RAMFAC to submit the 2024 oil verification report, which confirmed 67 oil wells within Cross River State and 18 oil wells within Akwa Ibom State, to the President and Commander-in-Chief prior to the disbursement of derivation funds, represent a serious breach of constitutional financial governance procedure. 15. The same interagency committee has also failed to submit its December 2025 report, which allocated 119, that is 119 oil wells derivation to Cross River State and 119 oil wells to Akwa Ibom State for presidential approval and implementation. Reports indicate that derivation funds were being disbursed based on these allocations without presidential authorization, raising grave concern about financial transparency, institutional accountability, and compliance to fundamental due process. Recommendation to Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief. In view of the foregoing findings, the civil society organizations as a coalition respectfully recommend the following urgent actions to the President and Commander-in-Chief. 1. Immediate presidential review of the 2024 and 2025 Interagency Committee report on oil well verification and derivation allocation affecting Cross River and Akwa Ibom states, respectively. 2. Immediate presidential directive for the proper demarcation of the Nigeria Cameroon maritime boundary within Cross River maritime corridors in accordance with the 2002 ICJ judgment mark. 3. Establishment of a presidential special investigation panel to examine the circumstances surrounding the loss of approximately 780 hectares of Nigerian maritime waters within the Cross River estuary. 4. Immediate forensic audit of all revenue and derivation payments relating to the Ekanga and Zafiro transboundary oil fields. 5. Investigation into the alleged unilateral approval of 33 billion naira in the payment from the federal account without presidential authorization. 6. Urgent diplomatic engagement with Cameroon for the negotiation of transboundary reservoir development agreement for the 49 identified reservoir continuity wells within OML 114. 7. Restoration and recognition of Cross River State's littoral status based on the geographic and legal status of the Cross River estuary as Nigeria's natural maritime gateway to the Atlantic Ocean. 8. A comprehensive national maritime boundary and offshore resource governance review involving all relevant institutions. In conclusion, the civil society organizations emphasize that the issues identified during the verification mission have significant implications for Nigeria's territorial integrity, maritime sovereignty, national security, and oil revenue accountability. Accordingly, the coalition respectfully urged Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to treat these findings as a matter of urgent national importance requiring immediate executive attention. What we are saying is that it is evident clearly that there is a very huge conspiracy.
Thank you, everyone. Please let me seated.
Heads of 46.
And totally unconscionable that a maritime